Visual 535, take 2.
If you shoot a romantic comedy or something like that, pretty much what you shot is what you get, and you know what you have like 4 weeks into post-production.
And action.
One of the coolest things about this is you won't know what kind of movie you have until maybe 2 weeks before it opens.
The design of the film and David's view of the world meant that no terrestrial location worked as a location to shoot in. So therefore, everything was built. Obviously, there's a limitation to how much can be built by the art department, and so our job was to add extensions to that world. There's a planet in the movie called Crematoria, and David described in the script a planet that swings from 700 degrees centigrade during the day and minus 300 degrees C at night.
If I owned this place in hell, I'd rent this place out and live in hell.
We started talking about what the atmospherics would be on the world, and we came up with a visual effects design where at a certain amount of temperature, the supercharged air would render itself as a wall of fire that travels across the planet's surface. We described this as the VTF, which means visible thermal front.
That's some sunrise.
356, take 6. And action.
Several passes were shot, live action passes of this miniature set, which we then put together so that we get the correct lighting and atmospheric look. A lot of that was done with matte painting, background extensions, CG extensions, integrating steam elements into that.
Riddick!
Peter Chang was a very enthusiastic leader. He was the one who had the tiger claws, and everything had to be tiger claws coming at us. Everything had to be angrier, and so he kept giving us these great emotions that made our effects characters in the movie.
And cut.
At the end of Crematoria, one of the characters, the purifier, walks out into the supercharged heat and disintegrates. We started off by shooting a green screen element of the actor performing on set.
We take over the character at a certain point, and he becomes a 3D replication of the actor's performance that we can then take and texture all of the burning skin and flesh and clothing.
We describe the burning as steel wool that burns really quickly with lots of highlights within the sort of embers, and they did a fantastic render and lots of really good shaders to convey that decay as the character walks deeper and deeper.
And whose throat is this?
Judi Dench plays Arion in Chronicles of Riddick. She is an air elemental. We talked about how the wind would affect her, and we very much worked along the idea that when the wind velocity gets to a certain speed, that would render the particles of her invisible.
Watch your step.
In one particular scene, David deliberately designed a hatch to open as a spaceship was flying, where there would be huge atmospheric disturbances within the ship, and this would enable us to really play with the particle systems that were worked out for the Arion effect. We knew where she was moving all the time within a scene, and then generated a particle system that was related to velocity. So in other words, whenever we blew a strong wind on her on the set, the computer would be able to read through optical flow the way in which the vectors were moving on the plate, and that would then drive the particle system to render part of the image invisible.
I've got a number of favorites within our work. I think some of the work that we've done in the Hellhound is beautiful.
Here they come!
In the prison, Riddick hides from the Hellhound behind a waterfall, and it was our job to have the CG dog move through the waterfall, finding Vin hiding there.
That took a lot of research and development with fluid flow and fluid simulation to actually make the water hit the dog, interact with the dog with all the scales moving, and then to integrate the animal with that, and how to light the hellhound, how to create a totally photoreal hound with 8,000 scales that articulate on it and have it look believable.
It's an animal thing.
1,000, 2,000.
Dave and I have a very close working relationship. We talk a lot, we draw a lot in terms of describing worlds, and we would have conversations between ourselves that would just spark new ideas.
As you're walking towards Riddick, I do this, and I drop into an OTS for the...
Pulling out the soul.
Right.
Yeah.
David's a very spontaneous director in terms of visual effects, and although you can go to the nth degree to plan something, there's always that spontaneity that happens on set, and, you know, it's up to our team to just react to that.
Looks pretty great, Peter.